Hey, what's up YouTube? Welcome to this new video for Path of Exile. In this video I'm going to show you what is my build, my go-to build for the league. This is my second character already. First character was a Eurofan Totem build, trying the new Transfiguration of Mind stuff. You can look at my last video for more details on that. The diagnosis on that is that the build is great, but it sucks for Blight, and because totems inherently are bad for Blight. They take too long to spawn and then they die anyways. Yeah, so I've decided to just do something else. It didn't feel that tanky, even though we had like more than 12k effective life, would easily go to 20k, but with more gear, and that's another problem. And the gear for the build was ES, and well, it's still hard to find. So I decided to go to a known variable of mine, which is Frostblade. I play Frostblade basically every league at some point. But Raider got buffs, and Nightblade is in the game, Elusive is in the game. So all these are helping to make Frostblade work better. So this is a Touch of Anguish Frostblade, so I'll make a showcase for those who don't know that build, but it's pretty basic. Now we have a tier 10 here because I ran out of red maps. I don't buy maps on the market, I only buy them from Alva. And then the ones I drop. So that's why I don't have red maps anymore. I ran all of them, but I did tier 14s, basically as easy as this. So you'll find out that for an evasion build, we're pretty freaking tanky. I rarely ever get hit. With this build, I do skip Blight. Reason is, I found out that the faster your build is, if you're a zoom build, you're better off by skipping. Granted, Blight is fun, so if you're just playing for fun and not efficiency, go for it. But because it's a stationary thing by design, if you're zoom like this, you're actually hurting yourself in terms of overall income, because Blight loot, unless you're lucky on the Orioles, is not that great. And then you're basically making your map last 3 times the time, so you'd be running like 2 more maps while you're doing the Blight. So that's that, yeah. So well, we have a breach here, so interesting. So as you can see, like if you look at my HP, we barely ever get hit, and we will get hit, then we'll leech it back right away. I don't have all pack yet. It's the plan for the next one. Also, look at the modifiers on the map, and well, the mobs don't do much damage, but this is extra life, so that ice goes off. Now, generally, people that will play Frostblade often will say, okay, that the problem with Frostblade is the single target. Now, keep in mind, this is still on a 5 link, due to, well, I don't have the money for a 6 link yet. Yesterday, I farmed for Tribal Fury. So we have Tribal Fury. Tribal Fury is a new notable that you can only get on amulets by anointing, which makes your strike skills hit a second enemy, which is extremely strong for Frostblade, because then that's a second set of projectiles that are thrown out, especially with Touch of Anguish, which makes the projectile chains on top of it. Now, this was not the greatest map, but it's the only tier 10 I had left. So for those who watch on the stream today, what we're going to be doing is reset our Atlas. I figured what I'm going to be farming, and it's going to be Shaped Jungle Valley. I'll explain on the stream for the reason, and then tomorrow, 2 days from now, I'll basically make a video about that strategy. Well, it's not like something, it's not 3D chest or whatever. It's just going to be super easy to sexton for its position, and only max 3 though, so, but anyway. We're not gonna get full sexton since we're gonna lock out a bunch of white maps. And to perfectly do it, I'll need my Elder Orb, which was what we're gonna do today. But yeah, jungle map will probably have first Flora's Gift that drops like 3-4 times per map. It gives you a 5-link staff. The point is not that, is that because it's guaranteed 5-link, it's very often a 6-socket. So we're really farming jewelers with that, and then on top of that, it drops the wind. Also drops the pack leader, which is the card for Alpha Zal, but Alpha Zal is pretty bad this league. So that's the map. But yeah, it drops the Wind, which is the card for Wind Ripper. And Wind Ripper will always be valuable because it's the bow for the main MF build with Tornado Shot. So let's go to... sorry if I dropped a few frames during the showcase. For some reason my OBS is having a fit today. So what do we do? So Frostblade, I'll go with the 3 first. Well, we're a raider, obviously, so we're going to the life because we're not a bow build. We're going here through the dual wielding. This you can wait. Eventually, the struggle will be life, getting a life in this build. So you're going to be getting all the life you can. Now, there's a 2 points here, but this one doesn't give anything. And the movement speed is not that relevant for us, and regenerate will get Vol Pact eventually, so it's not relevant either. So what I do is you can take those 2 points, let this one go. You want to rush for Winter Spirit to get full conversion here, and then you're going to be aiming directly for the jewels. That's the order in which you're going to do things while leveling. So Winter Spirit first. Once you have Winter Spirit, go for your jewels. Going for your jewels will have the advantage of being right by your frenzy charges once you get there, but the jewels, you need 2 jewels for Fights for Survival, which is the threshold jewel for Frostblade. I'll go in detail when we do the gear. Also, it has the advantage of getting you access to some life here and here. This I would wait for later. Once you get that one, then you can go through the life if you want to go quickly, or here, because this is pretty good for DPS. See how much DPS you make, how you feel about it, and then go up, get phase acrobatics as soon as you can. You have some life here in this, but the idea is again to get to your jewel socket here. Leave the frenzy charges until you have your first ascendancy. Your first ascendancy, you're going to be taking Way of the Poacher, which will give you frenzy charge generation, and then you can take the extra charges. Although I would still wait until you have Avatar of the Slaughter, which will scale your frenzy charges to get before getting this. So once you get here, you leave this because, well, the way I leveled can be different for you, but the way I leveled is using the axe, the Jade Axe, which is the Screaming Eagle is the unfaded version, and then at 32 you fade it with to get the Griffins. It can carry you up to Blood Aqueduct, and then in Blood Aqueduct I just farmed until 68. At 68 you can use the Touch of Anguish. And that's when this becomes important. Until you get this for mana, I would just take 1 point here. And for life, you don't exactly need it. Just use a life flask. And once you get a claw and you get this wheel here, which is massive reach, then you can drop the mana leech here. You have the life here, nothing of note. All the life here. Again, you need all the life you can find. And then get the penetration nodes as you pass by them. This, and this, and then eventually in the end, this is basically the 80s. I'm level 90 right now. This is like level 80 to 90. So that's the 3. The one thing to notice, you don't have that many sockets. You have 2 sockets for the Fights for Survivals, and that's it. If you want, there's a few 3 points, like this one and this one. This one could be interesting because you're going to be struggling for intelligence, so that could help you a bit. I don't like taking 3 points, so that's up to you. Yeah, and if you take jewels, that's going to be live crit. It's a crit build, really. It's not that big of a crit, but you want enough so that Nightblade triggers most of the time. Granted, you have so much attack speed. This is what multi-strike, without multi-strike or faster attack, so you have so many attacks a second that you'll be critting eventually. So that's the 3. We'll go into the items. in terms of uniques, it's pretty basic. You have the 2 jewels, so this is the important thing. They need to be in areas where there's dexterity. So the 2 ones the 2 sockets I showed you works for that. And what it does, it gives you penetration, a lot of penetration, and projectile speed. And projectile speed is basically range for our projectiles. So the more you have, the more off screening you'll be doing. And then you have dark ray vectors, which is pretty big for raiders. Now the big thing is there's no life on this, so that doesn't help us struggling for life. But when you have 7 charges, getting an 8-1 plus all the scaling we're getting, so we're getting all the scaling from, I didn't do the ascendancy, but I have all the scaling for frenzy charges, which is super big. We have an extra charge here. There's some minor frenzy charge duration here, but that's irrelevant. And then we also have the scaling down here. And the dark rays also gives you more movement speed, a lot of movement speed off of this. So yeah, I would take them. If you don't want to take them, just go for normal rares. This has some resistance too, so it's not that bad in terms of defenses. The evasion is pretty bad too. So, and then the Touch of Anguish, this is your go-to claw. As you see, I've been doing tier 14s pretty reliably with this. The low damage is not that bad. But if you want, eventually, if you can find a source of chain somewhere else, the chain is pretty important for clearing. But if you can find it somewhere else, then you can maybe get, eventually, as the league progresses, 200, 240 DPS claws and help your single target. You will probably want a life gain on hit claws, because your leech is already capped. So leech, there's 2 types of claws, ones that gives leech and ones that gives life gain on hit. Problem with the leech one is your leech is already capped, so it would do nothing. This is basically insta regain at the speed at which we attack. It's capping us pretty fast. So I would focus on the ones that comes to mind are Geminis. They are one of the highest tier in DPS, and they also have mana gain on it. They're pretty rare though, so keep that in mind. So yeah, and then the rest is basically just rares for res and HP. Now this is my current build. This is an import, so this is what I'm wearing right now from what you've seen. So all I'm doing really, wrong enchant, whatever. The helmet and the amulet will be your stat sticks in terms of having intelligence and strength. So that's where your money is going to go, especially if you need res on it. So what I would suggest is getting your res on all other piece of gear, and then make it so that you don't need res on your amulet and your helmet. So that's the helmet with intelligence. That's why the helmet is important, because helmets can always roll intelligence. And then you have your amulet, which will have strength and intelligence. And then, as you can see, allocates Tribal Fury. It's not calculated in PoE. It doesn't do bad damage. What it does is it's basically a mini ancestral call that you don't have to put a socket for it. It's pretty huge. It roughly gave me 30 for 40% more clear as soon as I got this. Currently it's costing about 200 C. You need an opalescent, a silver, and a golden oils to allocate this, and the golden one is the big one at 140 C as we speak. It's not the best amulet too. I could have bought an amulet for 1x and then put that on. That would have been better, but I figured I wanted it now. I would have had to farm more if I wanted to do that. And then the rest again here can get better gear, but this is what we have for now. Strength, intelligence again, life, res, elemental damage on attack, same thing. Heavy belt, massive strength here, and again res, life, etc. So nothing special on the gear and on the links. So the core ones are going to be Ice Bite. Your Ice Bite is going to be your main damage. So just to show, if I remove all the links here, you're going to have Ice Bite at the top. And then I want to put Fortify in. And then we're going to have this. We don't want Focus because we want to freeze. I don't like Ruthless, but you can use Ruthless if you want. And then probably Hypothermia. Oh no, right, it's Nightblade for defensive. So this is what we're using right now. Now, granted, it's not all level 20. I screwed this up a bit, but it's not a big deal. And then Rootless if you want it. I don't like Rootless because for clearing it's useless. Like if Rootless makes your third attack super big, but like for clearing, if you need it to one-shot, then your build is bad at clearing. And if you're already one-shotting without Rootless, then Rootless doesn't do anything. It's good for single target though. But Hypothermia is not that far behind, so that's probably going to be your 6th link. And this is like for everything, because everything's going to be chilled anyways. So that's that. Then we're using Whirlblade, of course, for movement. Endurance charge on melee stun, so you whirl through the pack. Sometimes you get a charge, so that's just that. You can put Cunning Strike for a single target if you want. Once the enemy is at under 10%, just whirl through them. That's another idea. So we have an Ancestral Protector for attack speed. At this point, a Ward Chief would actually be better. But I didn't change it. Now this is not linked into this, even though it's linked with a cast 1 damage taken, because totems cannot be triggered. So I put it in the here anyways. Cast 1 damage means this is our Mortal Call set, and summon Ice Golem for crit. This is a basic riposte link. You don't need this, it's just I don't know what to do with the last link. And a Portal Gem for like quality of life. And then we have our Stormbrand with Curse on a hit, Frostbite. On the 4th link, you could have Power Charge and Crit. But that's if you always drop it. I don't even use it for clearing, so yeah. So that's pretty much it. We are at 377k. Keep in mind that Nightblade is not accounted in here, and Nightblade is massive crit, and it's always on, so we're probably more at 500k. So yeah, and the last levels, now this is in the 90s, so we're missing 10 levels, so it's not exactly relevant for your character. But if you're actually going to push, what we're going to take is next level is Vault Pact. And then, well no, we're still missing 2 levels in Twin Terrors, which is massive crit, and then Vault Pact. It's going to be 93. And then 94 will be Heartseeker and Gemini. That's the plans. Our accuracy is at 97 right now, but what we're doing, as you can see, I skipped the auras for some reason. We're using Hatred and Herald of Ice for basic reasons, like it's pretty obvious, it's cold and cold. And then Precision gives us more crit, also accuracy. This is flat mana reserved, so the level will be based on the mana you have available. So I have a bit more than that. Not sure why it's dead, but it's at 112, I think. Oh no, it's actually at 64. So it's not even that. The idea is, as my Lantern level, or if I buy one once I get money, I'm gonna unreserve some mana, and then I can level Precision by higher. And that's the build, guys. That's gonna be my former build. It's not gonna be a boss killer, so the Elder, to get my Elder Orb, either I'll buy the kill or I'll make another build. I'll probably have a bosser at some point with a Juggernaut or whatever. We'll see. But thanks for watching. Don't forget to drop by on the stream at twitch.tv/callroot. The details are in the description. We'll have the PoE in the description as well. Have a good one. Bye-bye.